I'm Davis Morgan. I'm the host of Teeth and Tunes. It's a podcast where we will dive deep into the intricacies of the dental business, as well as explore some of musical interests with each of our guests and the music industry as a whole. I think that one of my goals with this is to, as we discuss with various individuals from each one of those avenues, whether it's music or dentistry, it's if you're going to thrive at it and do well, it's a business, and there are some similarities with both. So, and I also think that music it's always interesting to know what people listen to. Music is kind of like a universal language to the soul. And so with that, then our guest today is Tosha Matthews. Tasha, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So now you've been in the dental industry for a while, right?
I have. Yeah. Close to 20 years.
Okay.
So, yeah.
A seasoned veteran, but
Always changing.
So what drew you into dentistry to begin with?
Honestly, I needed a job.
We all have to start somewhere.
Yeah. And I was just working for a phone company, and I wanted to get out. I wanted something different. And just the opportunity came, and I took it. I didn't have any experience, or I didn't go to dental assisting school, but I started out in orthodontics clinician and went to dental assisting and just worked with some really great people. And then I went to the front desk, and I think it helped that I had the knowledge at the back, and
Definitely.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. So how many years were you like clinical assisting?
Oh gosh, 7 or 8 years
Okay.
before I went to the front desk.
And orthodontics.
Yes.
So very fast paced, right?
Yeah, I'm actually a certified orthodontic clinician, which nobody in Lubbock did that back then.
Okay.
In the office I was at, we took a test that, so it was really cool.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, with your move up to the front desk, obviously you saw that, and at some point, then, unlike your previous experience with the phone and communication industry, you saw it more as a career instead of a job.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that came while you were clinical assisting or after you moved up towards the front?
The front.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked the back. Don't get me wrong. I like working with dentists. I think it's awesome. But it gave me an insight of dentists, they're humans. They're just like us. Where I felt like there was this part of the office where the front was always scared and how to really communicate with the back, and there was this give and take and pull and everything. And but working straight with a dentist and then going up front, I felt like I had the knowledge to know, like, we're all human.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's always a little bit of a struggle. The back is very much tied to that schedule and staying on time. And, I know myself and most of my colleagues, I've known very few. I have known a few that didn't care about time so much as far as the time, like, staying on time and honoring the schedule. And then by doing that, you're honoring the patient's time as well as your own. It's a two-way street. But yeah, myself and most of my colleague friends and things, we feel very much under the pressure of staying on that schedule. Whereas the front, you've got to get them checked in. You've got insurance and health information to gather, and there's just so many things to get all of that put together to where then the assistant from the back come up and grab that chart and say, okay, next, type deal, right?
Yes. So I guess back when orthodontics and being a dental assistant, I went by the schedule, and it was like my day was one patient at a time. And so, I started here and ended here, where now at the front, it's like, wow, It's not one patient, it's all patients.
Uh,
Everybody that comes in there, whether it's, their insurance or you're making sure they're confirmed or, or that spot you're talking about is not filled and getting getting it filled. So yeah, it was a lot more difficult, but I think the challenge was what I kind of liked about the front.
yeah. Yeah, some of that, like I say, the back trying to stay on that schedule, the front trying to get all the I's dotted and T's crossed. In our staff meetings, it used to always be a little bit of a tug of war, between the two. And it's like, no, we're working harder. No, and I was
Yeah.
always like, a timeout. We're all on the same team, And as a dentist and the leader in the practice, if you don't keep that in control, it gets out of control really fast and can cause really kind of a miserable environment.
Oh my gosh.
You have to have everybody pulling and understanding, hey, we're all pulling, just some of us have to pull different weights.
Right, right. And I think that is so true because so many times in an office I've been at, let's say hygiene fell apart. Well, the hygienist is going to the front, don't fill my spot, don't fill
Yeah.
my spot. And I'm like, now coming from the back and the front and being everywhere. And I'm like, you know what? That's not team. That's
Right,
not how
right.
that should work.
And the dentist is like, what's up?
Where's
Why are the holes in the schedule?
yeah,
Right.
what's going on? So it really all came down to getting the heat from both
Uh-huh.
both sides up front. But
Yeah, believe me, at one point in time, I know this might be hard for you to believe, but I was definitely that. It's like, we have too many openings. What happened here? Why did the schedule fall apart? Today, at this point in my career, I'm kind of like, okay, the
yeah,
schedule fell apart. Well, gee.
yeah. Well, you have a lot more responsibility now with
Yeah,
technology and stuff changing in
yeah,
the dental world. But
that's true. So, moving from the back to the front, it does give you some insights. You've had the insights of working with the patients and their apprehensions and that kind of deal. But then now you're dealing more with trying to get them scheduled, which when they call, then, people don't just call the dental office out of the random, right?
no, not very often.
So you've got that live person on the other end, and so it's now your responsibility to convince them your office is the office they really should come to, right?
Yes. Yeah. It makes it easy though. Our office is, I mean, kudos to our Facebook and Haley and everything. It just now I think a lot of people do research with the technology they have
Right,
and go in and looking at our pages and stuff. And that's really us. And those people that you see on our page, those are our patients. It's not these aren't commercial people. These are not hired people that we put on that page. And when they call the office, they already know what they're looking for.
right.
So it's been great.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
very, it is more of a specialty type
Mhm.
practice in that regards. Thinking back to the days when I was just general dentistry and trying to keep a hygiene schedule full and trying to keep my schedule full. Um, we tried to set ourselves apart. I got out of the in network type situation fairly early in my career. And so one of the things we'd talk about a lot in our team meetings was, we have to convince patients why they should choose us over someone on their list. And, that
Mhm.
comes down to the person answering the phone, right? I mean,
Yeah, in
there's a lot
network.
of weight on your shoulders to do that.
Yes, and I am completely transparent. I mean, I wholeheartedly when I first started, it was about just get them through the door, get them in the door.
Uh,
Once they're in that door, then they're stuck. They're not
right.
going to go anywhere else. It's not true, and I always hated that. I
Yeah.
hated it because I just felt like I'm lying.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's not that I don't have trust or faith in my dentist, but or the people I work with. That had nothing to do with it. I just felt like yeah, I mean, you're either a good fit or you're not.
Right.
Not everybody likes their healthcare, doctor,
Mhm.
um, so I think with like if you talk about in the past, like getting them in and patients just coming into the office on the phone now, I am completely what you have questions? How's it going? How's your day? I want to know that person. Why are you calling us?
Yeah.
How can we help? And then if we can't, if our fees are too high or this is not something that's going to work with you, where can I send you?
Right.
'cause I feel like it's my duty. They called me, like, to keep them in the right track.
Well, some people do just really want that one tooth looked at
Yeah.
and treated, and in a complex care practice and comprehensive care, complex comprehensive care, that's just not the a good fit, right?
It's
Because we don't
it's
really have
not.
spots in the schedule for that.
And if I threw one of those in the schedule, I might get a little look.
I know, yeah, Haley, she
Yeah.
was right. But so when patients call, not being we are totally fee for service and that. So still to this day, we don't. I don't like any type of high pressure. I've never felt comfortable when someone was trying to pressure me into a sale.
Mhm.
And not just with cars. Everybody wants to talk about used car salesmen and stuff. But there's a lot of situations where we've all been there and you can tell they're trying to pressure you into that. And it's like, I am not going to run a business that way.
Yeah.
It's not me. It's not comfortable. But yet at the same time, we do have to convince people why we're the right fit for them. And like you said, sometimes you can discover as you talk to patients, you're trying to gather a number of things, not just we do help patients with, their insurance. And so it's that, and that's a big question that everyone has. And so I think it's important to address that,
Oh, yeah.
address that. Hey, we will help you. The other thing is though, you're trying to get a lot of information, right? Because you've got to start you're having to on the go make that discernment of are we going to be a fit for them and are they going to be a fit for us, right?
Right.
So how do you do that?
Absolutely. Um, just I take my time on that
Hmm.
call. And I I guess in a way I just feel like this is an old friend that just called and I'm
Yeah.
just picking up the pieces on, "Hey, how's it going?" And by the time, some of the conversations end, they call back even if they don't choose us, which happens, and that's okay. But when they do choose us or they're like, "Hey, I went somewhere else and they were a little bit more expensive, but I really just like y'all."
Mhm.
Like, I think that's so much more important if but just being relatable
Yeah.
and having empathy, compassion, and knowing that, I'm not going through what they're going through, but I could. And
Yeah.
even the financials, talking about financials. I don't have a money tree in my backyard.
Right.
Yeah, I would have to finance something right now if something happened to me. And that's how I assume everybody is.
Mhm.
Now there are some that aren't, but that's very few. And insurance is it's not going to pick up the tab. Dental insurance can be a joke. And I
Well,
hate
yeah.
that. I hate that. But um, I'll do whatever I can to make sure it gets filed and you get reimbursed.
Yeah. I don't think so. When patients call, oftentimes, particularly in a practice like what we've established, um, we get people that know they're kind of at the end of their rope, right?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
so a lot of times there's a number of things that have kept them from getting to that point. What do you find the most common um, things are that you hear patients tell you as to why their mouth has gotten to the point where they're like, I need to think of a different solution?
Gosh. So like you're talking about like a mom who
Mhm.
raised all her kids and now
Right.
it's her turn because she put herself on that back burner.
Hmm.
Um, Someone whose past just wasn't a great one.
Hmm.
Uh, Abuse, and it
Right.
could be drug abuse, it could be physical abuse.
We've, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen a little bit of everything.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just yeah, all of that
Some
stuff.
some of our patients, I know that the fact that we offer anesthesia solutions, I definitely can tell that fear fear of the dentist is kind of almost a common thread through all of those different scenarios.
Yeah.
whether it was they, were in a situation where financially it was just never feasible, if they were in a situation where it was, domestic abuse, or if, they had made some bad choices in life and run down that road for a while, that
Yeah.
type of thing. A common thing with a lot of them, though, still is fear.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fear, absolutely. I couldn't count. I probably can't count anymore how many times I've heard, "I hate the dentist."
Yeah, I know. Neither can I.
Yeah,
At
you
that thick
probably
skin.
for sure. Yeah, but definitely fear, and we have different options for that,
Yeah.
um, which is awesome. I mean, and even not just fear, but I mean, like the fear, but we want you to be comfortable.
Mhm.
So whether it's conscious, sedation or an IV sedation, or I mean, we have a heated blanket, we have
Yeah.
some earphones for you to wear. We encourage you like to, kick off your shoes. You're
Right.
going to be here for a little bit, but
You are. That's
and
right.
and let us know if I can hear several times I've, helped patients to the bathroom.
Right.
So, yeah, and what I also love about this practice is it's really one-on-one.
Mhm.
So, every patient that has come through the door, we have actually gotten to know either their kids or their spouse or friends that bring them in, and like their families and their stories. Their
Yeah.
stories. And I think it's a little therapeutic. Like,
So in your past, when especially in an orthodontic practice,
mhm,
there's just a lot of
a lot of
people that come
kids.
through, right? A lot of kids. How did you juggle those, to your listeners out there in the audience that are still in that type of a practice, a very busy, thriving type practice? How do you, you've got to gather the information, you've got to convince the patients it's the right office for them to see, and you don't want to be pushy. How do you manage to do that?
Okay, so that's a little bit more difficult because I think the office we're in now, people come to us because they know they have a problem and
Right.
they've hit rock bottom and they know it's time to make a change. In a general dentist practice where, you come in and you do hygiene and then the doctor comes in and diagnoses a crown.
Hmm.
Um, then they didn't come in thinking I have a problem. And
That's a
then
good point.
it's a, $1,200-$1,300 crown if that's without a buildup. Most dentists
Yeah.
would know that.
Yeah. Right.
So then that is a different consult. So that's when your finance options are really, kind of hit because most of those people, they're just trying to take care of themselves. And when they do, and they hear, great, I have a $1,200, treatment plan that needs to be taken care of. Yeah, it's a lot cheaper than what, we're doing now, but it's still a lot of money to people. That's a lot
It's
of
like
money.
taking your car in to get the
Yeah.
oil changed, and now they're saying, well, we need to do this $1,200 repair, right away. It's urgent, right?
Right, right. And I've learned working in dental, a lot of people do not like to be that person in the
No,
consult room.
no,
They
they
do
don't.
not want to have that financial conversation, but it's health. And that's I
That's
think what
true.
you're coaching people is this is your health.
Hmm.
Okay, and here's also if you were a horse, that puts you down if you keep losing your teeth.
Yeah.
but we're
Sorry,
human.
bud.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah. So
that's, call your family in.
we need to figure out how to promote more health
Mhm.
out there because they don't. And I think there's a lot more knowledge that needs to be shared about how um, you know uh, teeth cleanings and health goes to your heart and
Yeah.
how it affects the rest of your body and how many people we've helped lower their diabetes medications
Right.
or lose tons of weight.
True.
It's been
True.
amazing, like how night and day our patients have been. But
Well, I learned a long time ago. I was early on in my career when I was studying more advanced care at the Pankey Institute. They would get more into not just how do you do the dentistry, how do you recognize the signs and symptoms, and how do you come up with a treatment plan, to get the patient back to optimum health and that type of thing. But they would also spend time on You have to be able to run a business. And one of the things that Dr. Pankey and those that, were his colleagues that were teaching at the Pankey Institute, they would make comments like, you'll really do your best dentistry when you can be have financial independence. And I didn't know what that meant. I thought that meant, having a lot of money in the bank or that type of deal. And one of the guest lecturers was talking about that, and he felt kind of the same way, but he said really what it was whenever I realized that, no, I don't, when I'm presenting that problem and the solution to the patient, it's really their problem. And I've come this far, and I don't have to have that treatment on my schedule, and have the confidence that with enough, if you're seeing a fair number of patients, I don't, have to see a ton of patients, but patients have problems, and a lot of people don't realize they have problems. Like I said, that is part of just more general dentistry that can be a little confrontational because they come in thinking everything's hunky dory, and you're saying, yeah, that three surface filling that you've had for the last 20 years, that really needs a crown on it. Let me show you this picture. But really, I did start finding that communicating through good photography, and not even photography on the same level as what we do today, but good photography, and allowing the patient to, it's hard as a dentist to not try to kind of own that problem. And, once you can divorce yourself from that and divorce yourself from the idea of, it's like, I really need this treatment because I'm trying to reach this financial goal each month, blah, 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 then you can be more transparent, and more kind of like, here's your problem. Here's what I would recommend. And if you want to, talk to Tosha about that, and she's got some financial, but it just takes so much off of you. And then it also, I felt like that helped transfer that then to, for instance, my front desk that was handling, treatment coordinating and things, where they could work with them on their insurance benefit and explain. If you don't get this taken care of, you really could have major issues, but yet at the same time, not like just demand that they made a schedule. I think one of the biggest things I ever did was say, you don't have to tell us what your decision is today if you want to think about it. And I think a lot of people are like, oh,
Or I encourage you for that second
yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, things like that, where it's just kind of, and sometimes it's almost like if you tell someone, I know you need to get that fixed, but yeah, don't schedule for that yet. And they're like going, but why not?
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
reverse
It doesn't
psychology.
hurt. I like whenever,
Oh,
yeah. And then
yeah.
yeah. So then they don't think they have a problem. But exactly when you're talking earlier about the photography and stuff, I mean, just to now be able to
Mm,
show a patient the inside of their mouth, it has changed things
yes.
a lot.
It takes it, it speaks for itself.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, our team has done an exceptional job. Like I said, our photography level that we've achieved today is far surpassed what I had done for most of my career,
Hmm.
and it does. You're co-diagnosing
Yeah.
with the patient, and I really try to explain to patients. It's like, I want you to know what's your oral health is, what's going on in your mouth. I can give you some recommendations, but it's your choice. I do feel like sometimes in dentistry as a profession, we've been kind of bludgeoned into this idea of you have to fix this. Some of it is consulting. I know early on, I've worked with a number of consultants over my years, and some of them really good, some of them not so good. And the ones that I really just couldn't meld with very well at all were the ones that wanted you to see more patients, wanted you to use specific kind of these words have been psychologically researched, and it puts more pressure and emphasis. And I'm
Hmm.
like, I don't work that way. I don't want to be done that way personally. So therefore I can't do you that way. Right.
Right. Exactly. I
And
think that 100%. Um, Yeah, I think it's funny. I've worked with dentists where it's like, hey, it's referral, referral. And then some that are like, I don't understand why they don't get the work done. If I cut my arm halfway off, I would go get it fixed. But people don't think the mouth is that important. Like, I can just
Right.
have this tooth pulled, I can have this. And that's why I really think health and intraoral pictures
Hmm.
come in like a lot in showing us. Now I can see that, oh man, that looks really bad. I just, now that you can see it,
Right.
it's proof.
So fast forward. I mean, you worked, worked in orthodontics. You worked in a probably a higher paced general
Uh-huh.
practice,
Multiple
multiple
hygienists.
hygienist.
Hmm.
I think it was a husband wife team, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You
I
kind of
love that.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's fun.
Anyway, and where you're having more of those conversations about you need this $1,500 crown and a
Hmm.
build up, yada yada yada, to now you're like presenting treatment plans that are 20 to 40, fifty
40,
thousand
50,000.
dollars.
Yeah.
So, how do you approach that, and what has been the biggest tool to help you feel confident in bringing that kind of presentation to someone?
Okay. So I approach it just like if I was like earlier talking about cars.
True.
If I'm going to finance a vehicle and go buy a car, that's exactly what it is.
Uh,
That cost is pretty much a car. I mean, and this is serious money for people. Um, and I just walk them in and I try to be comfortable. Like, okay,
mhm.
so I know you think that room back there where Dr. Morgan was is painful, but this is the painful room. And so sit down and I have this real conversation with them. But I ask them prior to that conversation, if it's on the phone,
Mhm.
pretty much most of the time it's on the phone, is have you done your research?
That's a good question.
I want to know if they've looked into it.
Hmm.
And if you know what something like this is going to cost.
Hmm.
Because if they don't, the first thing I do over the phone, not trick them into coming in the door, is this is how much a veneer or crown costs times however many teeth you think you need. Or this is what an all on X is,
Uh-huh.
Um, and I already put that in their head. So
Hmm.
if they've come through the door, it's because they want to be there.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great too. Have you found that, because I know for a number of years in my general practice, um, we did a lot of business through like Care Credit. So,
Hmm.
there's third party financing, and Care Credit's probably one of the more well known and reputable. They were very reputable for us. But we did find as I got into doing the higher, more full mouth type things, oftentimes Care Credit was a little bit of a challenge. And
Yes.
so, what have you found some other third party tools that are helpful for you?
Yes. I do like Care Credit. I personally have Care Credit. So
Okay.
it's easy for me to talk about.
Uh-huh.
Um, I like Care Credit when you're using the smaller amounts because they do a great no interest.
Hmm.
But Proceed Finance is
Yes.
really good. They're easy to communicate with. And they will go up to 12 years and they shoot you as soon as it's a soft credit line thing, but they'll shoot you your options, what your
Uh-huh.
payments are going to be, what your interest is going to be up to those 12 years.
Like while the patient's in the office.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's simple.
It's that fast.
It is that fast. I literally just put their email address in. It goes straight to their phone or their,
Hmm.
where they can open their email, and they do all the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I do is make Proceed look good.
Yeah.
But it really is. It's a finance company, but it's only dental. Where Care Credit, you can go anywhere with that.
That's true.
Proceed Finance is only dental work.
I did find that unique about them. I'd worked with several different finance companies that said they would finance larger amounts, but really they were not any more flexible for the most part than Care
No,
Credit. And
right.
and I understand, Care Credit has a business model, and they will do, for their top clients, I guess customers, they will finance some of that more, much more expensive treatment.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't say that they, wouldn't do it. I just found that once we started using a company like Proceed, and like you pointed out, they just do dental. I
Mhm.
found that very interesting about
Yeah.
them, and they have been seem like really good to work with. And I feel like our patients, I've not heard any pushback honestly from anybody
No.
at this point, and I've been using Proceed for couple 2 or 3 years before we
Mhm.
moved to the practice here in Lubbock, and we're in our third year here,
Mhm.
so probably worked with them at least 5 or 6 years now.
And recently they did lower their interest rates again, and they'll go up to, which we've never had a patient use, $75,000.
Okay.
So
Maybe we need to kind of work on that. I don't know. Well, and it's fast. It is fast. You have some great perspectives on having worked both clinical as well as business admin, and in very typical, I would say, what a lot of dentists strive for, very busy, healthy type practices, seeing, a fair volume, pretty high volume, especially compared to our volume now. And now it's in a very much of a niche
Mhm.
type practice where, like you said, most of the people that even call our office have already been like looking around and know that they've got to do
Mhm.
something.
They're doing their homework for sure.
Yeah, and it's your insights on just how you handle those, when that call comes in, and just trying to be open, and get to know, try to establish some type of a link with the person on the other end of that phone, or that's been emailing us, that
Mhm.
type of thing. But changing gears just a little bit, coming to a screeching halt on dentistry. Um, part of what I want to talk about is music. So, do you have a favorite genre?
I I actually don't. And I cannot sing. I can't carry a tune in a bucket.
Okay.
Uh but I love when Haley comes in with her beautiful voice and I'm just like, "Where's my coffee?" And she's coming in singing. Um no, I kind of like all music. I've grown up listening to a little bit of everything. Even old, old stuff, old country to new, not all new country, but I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
some of the new countries, it's a stretch to call it country, I think.
yeah. Yeah.
But I'm like that. Did you have any musical experiences growing up, as far as like band, choir, that type of thing?
No, I didn't. Mainly my dad, I guess. He was big into music. So I don't know
Okay.
if y'all remember the little, you can order like a weekly tape that would come
Uh huh.
in the mail or something.
Yeah.
So we did that. We got, tapes, and it could be anywhere from Joe Cocker to
Yeah. Okay.
to he loved the Beatles, so we listened to a lot of Beatles, lots of records. He had a ton of records. But he's pretty much the one who introduced me to music. And even today, my husband and I will put on like hair bands, and our
Yeah.
daughter will walk in and be like, "What are y'all listening to?" But no, kind of like it all. Kind of do.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. I grew up, my dad was very much liked country and things like that. He actually had a personal connection with Roy Orbison, of all people. They both went to Wink High School out here
Oh
in
my
West Texas.
gosh.
Yes,
That's
and so they knew each other. But my mother, on the other hand, she was kind of a city girl, grew up city, so she liked more like big band. Her parents, I remember her parents liked to listen to big band and things. So even like sitting around here, I mean, I
yeah.
think I've got some of their old albums some of these that we see on the shelves in the wall here, like Freddie Fender. And there for a
Mm-hmm.
while, I had a Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass. I mean, when was the last time you ever heard something like that?
Never.
Yeah. So anyway, so who do you listen? Do you have a particular station you like to listen to here in Lubbock?
Oh man. I listen to a lot of news.
Oh,
So not much music unless I'm playing my phone. A lot of podcasts, but um no, I guess like it's random. Like if you hit a button on my radio, it's gonna go from old country to new country to Christian to
Yeah.
to FMX.
Uh,
Yeah, so I don't really have a
just
certain
kind of
genre.
depends on what.
I could be hooked on Aaron Lewis,
Uh-huh.
for a little bit. Love that, and I love Stained. So like going from when they had their
Uh-huh.
rock band to like
Yeah.
now, it's crazy. I love it. Love it all. I
Yeah.
love music. I don't do a lot of concerts. I don't know if you're real
Okay.
big into going
I
to
was
like
gonna
the
ask you, who
theaters.
was the last live music you
It'd
watched?
be at Cook's.
Well,
Or
that's not a bad
okay,
place to
502
go.
Jam. I like to go out there and listen
Okay.
to some of the locals, but
Uh-huh.
I just like the outdoors and the local bands and like the smaller venues. I don't really care to sit indoors
And you have a
at a
friend,
concert.
like a high school friend or something that's a musician here and has
So
a hosts an open mic, is that
yeah,
right?
didn't go to high school with him. He is kind of like a big brother, but Brian Finley does the 502 Jam at
Okay.
Two Docks, and it's
Okay.
really cool to go out there. And then he plays randomly in
Uh-huh.
town, and we'll go chase him down. But yeah,
Well, it's, you like, Cook's is a great venue, and, they get some really great acts out there, and then they really support the young musicians. I've been
they
out there
do.
some for their
Hmm.
singer-songwriter night, and that's a lot of fun, and then
Yeah.
we saw Dwight Yoakam and the Mavericks out there last summer, so.
That's really cool. I know, I also like, when Jason was in the fire academy and we would go to crickets downtown,
Uh-huh.
and, there's this band called, Plain Brown Rapper.
Oh,
Loved them. They're not together anymore, but y'all go look them up. It was really good.
okay. Okay. Well, that's great. I've enjoyed, visiting with you on, all things dentistry and a little bit of musical variety there. Uh, we look forward to, at some point, we'll have you back on the podcast and we'll pick your brain on more specific subjects maybe as they come up.
Yeah,
So
sounds good.
we might have to have the most interesting phone call conversations you've had or something like that in the future. Okay.
Ooh, okay, I got some.
So everyone needs to stay tuned for the upcoming uh, uh, podcast featuring Tosha Matthews and the crazy, crazy people that call in sometimes,
Yes,
along
we'll
with
do
all of our
it.
great people. We have a great family of patients that we're developing here.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
awesome.
yes. Yeah,
Love
definitely.
Lubbock. Love Lubbock.